Hello, everybody. Welcome to this training where you will learn how to lose weight in menopause without strict diets or spending hours exercising. Now, first things first, who is this training for? This training is for women in menopause who are struggling to lose weight no matter what they try to do. This is also for you if you're a woman in menopause whose life has been negatively impacted by this weight gain. And also, this is for you if you're a woman in menopause who is serious about losing this weight and you're open/committed for change. Because in order to lose this weight, there's going to have to be some changes to be made. And who this is not for? This is not for women in menopause who are vegan. Women who are vegan rely on carbohydrates to be their main source of protein. And with this training, we're going to learn an approach where going low carbohydrate is not going to be doable or achievable for somebody who's vegan that does not eat animal protein. So if you're a woman in menopause who is vegan, unfortunately, this training is not for you. This is also not for women in menopause who aren't serious about losing the weight. I mean, if you gained a couple pounds and you're not really serious about losing them, they're not really affecting your life much, then this training is probably not for you. This is not for women in menopause who are not open for change. In order to get a different outcome this time and in order to achieve your results and lose weight, you have to make some changes in your habits and your lifestyle. So if you're not open for change, unfortunately, this is not for you. I don't want to waste your time. Now, who am I? Why take advice from me? Why listen to me? So my name is Ali Farhat. I hold a bachelor's degree in kinesiology. I am a certified women's holistic hormone practitioner. I'm a certified menopause well-being practitioner, and I also have a decade of experience coaching women for weight loss. I want to give you a little backstory on my journey and on what got me to currently helping women in menopause for weight loss. I lost 40 pounds, and these 40 pounds honestly changed my life. I went from being depressed, having no social life, wanting to stay in my room all the time, absolutely zero confidence, into changing my life, taking control of my life, and losing 40 pounds. And this weight loss journey absolutely changed me physically, mentally, emotionally, and it made me find my purpose. After losing this weight, I fell in love with fitness and I wanted to help people feel what I feel, go through this journey as well, so they can take control of their life and just be a better version of themselves. So after deciding that I wanted to be a personal trainer to help people lose weight, I earned my bachelor's degree in kinesiology. I started working as a personal trainer and I started coaching women who are not in the menopausal stage, who are in their 20s, maybe early 30s. These are some of the results for the women that I've helped that are premenopausal, which means that they're not in the menopause stage. Now, why do I help women in menopause? Why did I transition from being a personal trainer helping younger women and also men into focusing on helping women in menopause? It all started because of this lady right here. While I was a personal trainer, I got a referral client, which is Kendra, as you see in front of you. Kendra was going through menopause. She was struggling with weight gain, belly fat, extreme fatigue, insomnia, many other symptoms, hot flashes, depression, many of the typical menopause symptoms. And she came to me wanting to lose weight. And I tried doing what was working for everybody else. I put her on a more restrictive diet, cut down her calories, made her come see me 3 times a week. And honestly, what was working for everybody else just wouldn't work for this lady. She was still struggling with even more fatigue, and she started actually gaining weight instead of losing weight. And I was so frustrated because I felt like a failure. This woman has came to me to help her, and I wasn't able to help her. I tried everything. I tried to make her come more often to the gym, do more cardio, restricted her calories even more. All these things made her feel just worse. This is when I realized that there are many hormonal changes happening in a woman's body that I'm not familiar with. So I wanted to learn more about that. I didn't want to fail my client. I really wanted to help her. So I got certified as a women's hormone practitioner. Once I had the power of knowledge of what's happening in a woman's body and the hormones that are changing in menopause, I was able to help her lose 80 pounds, and it was an absolute life change for her. I mean, look at the difference. And at the same stage, when I decided to transition my focus to help women in menopause, my mom started going through the menopausal transition, and she was struggling with weight gain and many other symptoms, and I was able to help her lose 40 pounds and be healthier and in better shape. This is my beautiful mother. But it's not just them. Here are results of some of the menopausal women that I helped that lost weight and kept it off. Rocio has lost 60 pounds with the strategies and methods that I followed with Kendra, and Wendy was able to lose 25 pounds and get her abs popping after following the same exact strategy. So what we will cover in this training, we're going to cover secret number 1, which is how your hormonal changes are causing you to gain weight in menopause, especially visceral fat. Visceral fat is the dangerous type of belly fat. That is different than the fat that you store all over your body, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We'll cover secret number two, which is how what worked in the past and eating less, exercising more does not work for you anymore in menopause and will not work for you. And secret number three, how implementing a low carbohydrate, anti inflammatory lifestyle is the only way to get your hormones in balance so you're able to lose weight in menopause. In order to lose weight in menopause, we have to get your hormones in balance. Your hormones are in charge of storing fat and burning fat. So it's important to take a hormonal approach, which we'll explain. So let's cover secret number one, how your hormonal changes are causing you to gain weight in menopause, especially visceral fat, the dangerous type of belly fat. So the hormonal changes that cause weight gain and inflammation in menopause. The root cause of the changes happen in your body and the weight gain is low estrogen. Your ovaries stop producing estrogen when you reach menopause, and estrogen impacts all systems in your body. Low estrogen can lead to insulin resistance. Estrogen impacts insulin sensitivity, meaning your body's response to insulin. And when you have low estrogen, you can develop insulin resistance, which I will explain to you in detail on the next slide. And also, low estrogen leads to high cortisol. Your body becomes under stress when your hormones are declining. Now, both insulin resistance and high cortisol lead to inflammation in the body. And inflammation is the root cause for weight gain and for all diseases. Low estrogen causes insulin resistance and high cortisol, and both those cause inflammation, which causes weight gain. These are the hormonal changes that affect weight gain and inflammation in menopause. Now, let's talk about insulin. A lot of you have heard of insulin resistance, but maybe you're not familiar on exactly what it is. So insulin is in charge of blood sugar regulation, meaning that when your blood sugar elevates, insulin is released from your pancreas, and its function is like the taxi that takes away sugar from your blood into your cells, into your muscle cells, into your liver cells, into your fat cells. This is its main function. So taking sugar, which is glucose, away from your bloodstream into your cells. So let's explain insulin resistance. What happens with insulin resistance? The low estrogen in menopause leads to decreased insulin sensitivity, meaning that your cells, your muscle cells, your liver cells, your fat cells become less sensitive to insulin. So meaning instead of insulin taking away the sugar into your cells, the cells become less sensitive, meaning they become resistant to insulin taking away the sugar to those cells. So that low estrogen, which causes decreased insulin sensitivity, causes an increased risk for insulin resistance. So that means that your cells stop responding to insulin, which leads to inflammation and weight gain. So instead of insulin being able to take away the sugar from your bloodstream to your cells, the cells become locked up. They do not allow insulin to take sugar into your muscles and liver. So all the excess sugar goes to your fat stores instead. And even more insulin resistance can lead your fat cells to even be resistant, which causes more insulin and blood sugar to be in your bloodstream. So if not addressed, insulin resistance develops to pre-diabetes and then type 2 diabetes. This is why if you've tested your blood sugar during menopause, you realize that your blood sugar is higher, even though you're still eating the same things, you're still following the same lifestyle. This is because you're more prone to being insulin resistant, meaning that more sugar accumulates in your blood, which is not good. It's dangerous. It can lead to pre-diabetes. And this inflammation and insulin resistance causes visceral fat, which is the fat that is stored around your organs. Fat cells that are stored around your organs, or visceral fat, causes those vital organs to underperform. And that fat storage around those organs can also lead to inflammation and weight gain. So it's constant. It's like a vicious cycle of insulin resistance, visceral fat, inflammation, weight gain. Vicious cycle. And if not addressed, this visceral fat can lead to many health consequences like cardiovascular disease, strokes, heart attacks. So it's not only important to lose this weight and belly fat for your confidence and physical appearance, which is very important, it's also important to lose it because of your health. Now, secret number two, how what worked in the past and eating less, exercising more just doesn't work for you anymore in menopause. So what's the first thing we usually do when trying to lose weight, right? We restrict food, we start exercising more. I'm sure a lot of you watching this training have tried this. You've tried to restrict food like what you did in the past. You tried exercising more, hopping on that treadmill, on the elliptical, doing those high intensity classes, the boot camp classes, restricting food, starving yourself, eating less than 1,000 calories, and you're realizing that this is not helping. It used to help in the past, it used to work in the past, but not anymore. Why? Once you are in menopause, you literally fall into a different category when it comes to losing weight. So I want you to stop comparing yourself to the woman who is not in menopause, to your husband who loses weight very fast following the same plan you follow. You fall into a different category when you reach menopause because your hormones change. Your hormones are in charge. You got to focus on hormones, not eating less and exercising more. Your hormones are in charge. What worked in the past just does not work anymore. So This combo is very common for women in menopause. They want to focus on losing weight, so they start under eating, over exercising, and they're already not sleeping enough because of high cortisol, because of low progesterone and estrogen, waking up in the middle of the night, having a hard time staying asleep, sleeping maybe 4 to 6 hours a night. This combination is the absolute worst, you ladies. And it's going to actually cause weight gain and not weight loss, because all these cause chronic stress to your body. When you undereat, when you're eating anywhere under 1,200 calories, you're causing stress to your body. You're not giving it enough nutrients and enough food. And you're over exercising. So you're not eating enough food and nutrients. Plus, you're busting your butt at the gym, doing those classes 6 days a week, waking up early in the morning, putting so much effort to exercise and push your body physically while under eating, and also while not sleeping enough. You're not recovering properly. And undersleeping alone causes stress to your body. It causes inflammation and weight gain and water retention. Over exercising and under eating do the same. So this combo is very toxic to your body and causes chronic stress, which is stress over a prolonged period of time. Stress over a prolonged period of time causes inflammation, which causes weight gain. So not only the low estrogen, which causes insulin resistance, is causing you weight gain, but also the plan that you're following now, which worked in the past, is not working anymore. It's actually causing more damage. You're not eating enough food and fuel, you're exercising too much, and you're not sleeping enough. I hope this makes sense to you. Your body is already under stress because you're in menopause. Your hormones declined, your body is already stressed. We need to limit stress and cortisol as much as possible. This is the exact strategy that Dawn followed on the left. She was busting her butt on the elliptical daily. She was eating 800 calories, 800 calories a day, working so hard, putting so much effort at the gym, and restricting food, and she was not able to lose weight. As soon as we switched her to eating enough calories with the right macronutrients and cutting down on the high intensity exercising and doing only 2 to 3 days a week of moderate intensity weight training and making sure she's having the proper sleep hygiene and sleeping enough hours to recover properly, this all caused less stress to her body, less cortisol. Her body is not in the fight or flight mode anymore. That causes less inflammation and weight loss. Because when you stress, ladies, when you're under stress, your body thinks literally it thinks a tiger is chasing you. So what happens is it starts prioritizing cortisol. When cortisol spikes, your blood sugar actually elevates. Why? Because when your body thinks a tiger is chasing you, your body releases sugar in your bloodstream as quick energy so you can fight or flee away from this tiger. But your stress is because your hormones are declining, you're not sleeping enough, you're over exercising, you're not eating enough. But all this excess sugar that is being released in your bloodstream, plus insulin resistance, you know what that causes. More weight gain, more inflammation. It's just a literally toxic cycle. Secret number 3, we talked about that a little bit, how implementing a low carbohydrate, anti-inflammatory lifestyle is the only way to get your hormones in balance so you're able to lose weight in menopause. So calories are made up of macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. These 3 macronutrients or macros, they create calories. Now, each one of those macronutrients spikes your blood sugar in different levels. If you see, carbohydrates is in orange, protein is in yellow, and fat is in green. So carbohydrates in orange, when you consume carbohydrates, they spike your blood sugar the fastest. See how rapidly they spike your blood sugar? And then you get a crash. So when you develop blood sugar that is rapid from carbohydrates, a lot of insulin gets released into your bloodstream. And when you're insulin resistant, we talked about what happens. More fat storage, more insulin and sugar accumulating in your blood, which leads to health consequences, inflammation. So this is why if you see the protein and fat, when you consume protein, it gives you a moderate spike in blood sugar and insulin. Remember, the less blood sugar accumulates, the less insulin is released. So fat causes the least spike in blood sugar. See how low the spike in blood sugar, which is great because lower blood sugar equals lower insulin. So protein and fat is what you want to focus on in menopause for weight loss. So less carbohydrates, more protein, and more fat. I hope that makes sense, because when you consume carbs, even though you're eating healthy carbs, like whatever you were eating in the past, honey, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, potatoes, yams, beans, lentils, all those carbohydrates, they're still made up of carbohydrates. When your body breaks them down, it's broken down into sugar. The simplest form of carbs is sugar. When you're insulin resistant and you have low estrogen in menopause, your body becomes sensitive to any foods that spike your blood sugar and insulin rapidly. So your body becomes more sensitive to carbohydrates. This is why the approach should be protein and fat and less carbohydrates. Now, you might be thinking, consuming higher amounts of fat can cause high cholesterol and increased risk of heart disease, right? Isn't that what we've been taught? That consuming high amounts of fat and consuming egg yolks and butter can cause high cholesterol and increased risk for heart disease? In fact, it is the absolute opposite. High carbohydrates and low amounts of fat can cause these. This all started when they created this food pyramid. Remember this food pyramid that they created for us? When this whole fear of fat started, that fat causes high cholesterol and heart disease. And then they started telling us that 40% of your diet should come from breads and cereals and refined carbohydrates. 35% should come from fruits and vegetables. So that's literally 75% of our diet should come from carbohydrates. So the majority of our calories should come from carbs, they said. And then they made fat look so bad that they put it in the same category as sugar. This is how much they wanted to scare us of fat. They put it in the same category as sugar, which is very wrong. So, okay, if fat was causing heart disease and high cholesterol, right? Supposedly, after this food pyramid, the incidence of heart disease, diabetes, and all health problems should decrease. In fact, since this food pyramid was released, we've been the sickest, most obese, most diabetic we've ever been. It's all because we've been consuming the majority of our foods from carbohydrates, the majority of our calories from carbs. And then they came up with all those fat free foods. And if you remove fat from a food, you remove the flavor. So what do you add instead? You add sugar, artificial sweeteners. This is what's causing us to be sick and obese and overweight and have high cholesterol. It's the refined carbs and not the fat. So fat is your friend. It's going to be important to rewire your brain to start accepting that fat is your friend and carbs, refined carbs, are the enemy. Remember in the beginning, I mentioned that this training is for women who are open for change. In order to get a different outcome, you got to be open for change. And what helps with change is for things to make sense to you. This is why I'm explaining this to you. And I hope everything has made sense to you so far. So higher fats and protein plus lower carbohydrates leads to stable blood sugar and insulin, which leads to less inflammation and more weight loss in menopause. Now, this is the same strategy that my client Christina followed. As you see on the left, she was following a high carb diet, low fat diet. She had high cortisol, high stress, high inflammation. And look at the visceral fat and belly fat she's had. She struggled with that so much. Then, when we switched her to low carbs and high fat and focused on low cortisol, lowering her stress on her body and lowering inflammation, look at the difference. It was an absolute life change for her. So the only way to successfully lose weight in menopause is by getting 3 hormones in balance: your insulin, your cortisol, and your thyroid. We'll talk about each of them. How to get insulin under control. Remember, higher blood sugar equals higher insulin. The goal is to keep first blood sugar stable so that insulin is stable. First step is focusing on lower carbohydrates and higher fat and protein to keep your blood sugar low, which will keep insulin low. Lower carbs, higher fat and protein. The mistake that a lot of women make when they try to go low carbohydrates, and the reason why a lot of women do not succeed to sustain being on low carbohydrates, is because they just eliminate carbohydrates and they only focus on protein. They're only eating like chicken breast and salad. They're only eating like a source of lean protein with a salad, which does not satisfy you. It's going to get you hungry. It's going to get you fatigued. You got to substitute the carbs with fat, avocados, nuts and seeds, healthy oils, fatty meats, egg yolks, whole eggs, butter, ghee. These are what gives food flavor. These are what keeps you full and satisfied and keep your blood sugar low. This is how you sustain being low carb. You substitute it with fat. Number 2 is avoiding or limiting inflammatory foods that contain sugar, refined carbs like pastries, bread, cereals. Alcohol is very inflammatory. Gluten is very inflammatory. Seed oils like canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, and artificial sweeteners. This is something a lot of women don't pay attention to. Artificial sweeteners found in diet sodas, Splenda, Sweet and Low, these are terrible for your healthy gut microbiome. They affect your gut health negatively, which causes inflammation, which causes you not to digest foods properly or absorb nutrients from foods properly. Inflammation leads to water retention, constipation, bloating, weight gain. Intermittent fasting is a fantastic way to keep your blood sugar and insulin low. Not meaning fasting all day and starving yourself. Fasting for 16 hours and just shortening your eating window to 8 hours. So let's say you stop eating dinner at 7 and you fast till 11 a.m. Like if you're used to having breakfast at 8 or 9, you just extend your period of eating till 11. What happens when you fast So after you sleep, when you wake up in the morning and you fast, you keep your blood sugar low this way. You keep insulin low. Then your body unlocks your fat stores and uses that as energy when you're fasting. But the key is making sure that you're eating enough in your eating window. If you're under eating in your eating window, eating less than 1200 calories, then that causes stress to your body. Then fasting is not going to work as efficiently. Gotta make sure you're eating enough nutrients and calories and macros within your 8 hour eating window. And lastly, keeping cortisol in check. Avoiding chronic stress, because chronic stress, remember, causes inflammation, which causes weight gain. Toxic cycle. And we'll explain here how to get cortisol under control, the second hormone. Consuming a minimum of 1200 calories a day. Anything less than 1200 calories, you're causing stress to your body. Your body's already under stress because your hormones are declining. So at least 1200 calories a day to keep cortisol in check. Also, cutting down on high intensity workouts and workouts longer than an hour. You want to focus on 2 to 4 days of low impact, moderate intensity weight training, and light cardiovascular exercise. So cutting down on the boot camps. If you're doing boot camps 5, 6 days a week, doing those burpees and getting your heart rate to the max, even though this is great and it helps you build muscle and burn calories, if you're in menopause, it can cause stress to your body, especially if you're under eating and not sleeping enough. So cutting down on those high intensity workouts, maybe you can do them like 1 to 2 days a week, but instead add other days where you're doing just moderate intensity weight training, where you're just lifting weights, focusing on good form, on proper breathing, enough rest between sets. This helps you build muscle and strength and does not cause as much chronic stress and cortisol spikes as high intensity workouts or long workouts. Longer than an hour, usually it can cause a stress response to your body. Number 3 is optimizing sleep. Poor quality sleep contributes to high cortisol, inflammation, slower metabolism, and belly fat. If you're not sleeping enough and under eating, your body adapts and your metabolism can slow down, which is not good. And also, you're in risk of losing muscle if you're not sleeping enough and you're not eating enough. So, optimizing sleep, making sure that you are getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night. That is the goal. Now, a lot of women that have low estrogen and progesterone, even with good hygiene for sleep, they struggle with that. This is a separate category talking about hormone replacement, which absolutely helps. But for now, if you have poor sleep hygiene, meaning that you stay on your phone for long periods of night watching the TV shows, if you are not optimizing your sleep, you got to make sure that you're optimizing sleep, because it can contribute to chronic stress and high cortisol, inflammation, slower metabolism, and belly fat, visceral fat. Lastly, very important, and I think it all starts there, saying no more to people and saying yes more to your mental and physical health. Saying yes to people all the time means that you're saying no to yourself and your loved ones. If you're always taking on projects at work and saying yes to everybody, putting so much on your plate, you're going to end up suffering. Your kids, your husband, your family is going to end up suffering because they're not seeing the best version of you. You're going to be under stress. In menopause, it's time to prioritize yourself. I know that moms, you're used to putting everybody ahead of you, putting your kids first, putting everybody and taking care of everybody's needs first. Now it's time to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself and say yes to yourself more, you're not going to show up as the best version of yourself for your kids, for your family, for your loved ones. So you're not only doing this for yourself, you're doing this for them as well. Prioritize yourself because you deserve it. And lastly, how to get your thyroid under control. So low estrogen in menopause also can impact your thyroid function. Like I said, low estrogen menopause can impact thyroid function, and thyroid impacts all systems of your body, especially your metabolism. Low thyroid causes slower metabolism, which leads to easier weight gain. If your body is not efficiently burning calories, it's easier for you to gain weight. So this is why optimizing your thyroid is very important. Now, how do you do that? You want to get your TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and your Hashimoto's antibodies, which are TPO and TGAB, tested. Usually doctors only focus on TSH. TSH is not even your thyroid hormone. Free T3 is your active thyroid hormone in your body. Gotta make sure that this is optimal. A lot of women in menopause, they suffer from hypothyroidism, which affects metabolism, which makes it very hard for them to lose weight. So can you see how this would work for you? All these steps that we talked about, see how this could work for you in order to lose weight? So what we've covered in this training, we've covered secret number 1, how your hormonal changes are causing you to gain weight in menopause, especially visceral fat, which is a dangerous type of belly fat. We talked about how what worked in the past and eating less, exercising more does not work for you in menopause and will not work for you. And we also talked about how implementing a low carbohydrate, anti-inflammatory lifestyle is the only way to get your hormones in balance so you're able to lose weight in menopause. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like it would be better to have somebody like myself to hold your hand and take you there every step of the way, guide you, keep you accountable to help you lose this weight? If you would like help implementing those steps, and I'm sure that you have also other questions you'd like answered, if interested in working with somebody like me to help you get there easier, faster, simpler, you can book a call under this video. It's a complimentary free call where we dive deeper into the challenges and struggles you're going through. And at the end of the call, you can decide if the program is a good fit for you, and you can decide whether or not you'd like to be a part of it. I would love to guide you, keep you accountable, and simplify things for you so you can lose this weight, get your confidence back, get your health back, and thrive in menopause instead of suffer and struggle. So below this video, you can pick a time and day that works for you. You can schedule a call. I'm going to play a couple testimonials from clients that worked with me that took that step, booked this call, and decided to move forward, and their lives completely changed. So feel free to stay to watch those videos if you're still deciding whether or not you'd like to book a call. Maybe my clients will convince you. Rocio, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a mom of four kids, and I work full time every day.
What was the problem that you had prior to joining the program, Rocio?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't lose an ounce. I've struggled with my weight since I can remember. Um, and I've done literally everything. I've done the paleo, the keto, I did the Herbalife, and they did work for a little bit, but then when I started eating again, right back up.
Was there anything in particular about my program that helped you?
You know what? Everything. Literally the accountability, the food, which was so much more than I was eating before. Your talks, you're doing this, you're not doing that. You should try this one. The accountability as a whole.
Why do you think it was so effective for you?
Because I feel like I needed somebody to hold my hand. And although you're not here, like literally that's what you did. And I I would, text you sometimes. I would send you pictures of, can I have this? What do you think about that? And you always respond. And I am grateful for that. And that's why I think I've had success with you.
So, as a result of implementing the program, what was the outcome?
I lost a ton of weight. I'm confident, Ali. I can go out and wear anything and just feel comfortable. Like I don't have to like wear certain clothes to hide anything. I feel amazing. Energy through the roof. I have energy to play with my two little ones. Uh I I mean the perks, I'm buying smaller clothes. I mean, who doesn't love that? They look good. And yeah, I feel so much better. Like you don't understand how much better I feel.
So, where do you think you'd be right now if you didn't take action and join the program?
If I didn't, I probably would be where I was before I called you. And that's, yeah, I don't want to be there. I will never go back there. And yeah, I'm glad I did reach out to you that one day.
If there's anybody watching this interview right now is on the fence of booking a call with me to speak with me about joining the program, what would you tell them?
Don't don't be scared. Call. It will be one of the best choices of your weight loss journey. I mean, you're amazing as a coach. And yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of weight, and anybody can. The foods are great, the portions are amazing, and the weight just drops. Best decision I ever took.
So
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a mom. I have three kids. I have two older boys. They're out of house. One's in college. One's out on his own, and then I have a daughter who's 17, who is at home. She does have some uh, disabilities, so we have some extra challenges and opportunities with her. But she's got a huge heart, and she's always with us. So I work full time as a program manager at Edwards, and I love my job, even though can be a little stressful time sometimes. But um, I am happily married and live in Utah.
So, what was the problem that you had prior to joining our program?
I had continually put on weight year after year. Just I had been working out, when I was younger, and then as work got stressful, life got stressful, I stopped working out, and then not eating as good, and then my sugar cravings were through the roof, and I was just not eating healthy, and I just continued to put on weight until I was just really not myself anymore. I had tried on my own, right? Other diets and things you see online, whether it's Noom or I can't remember it, Optavia, where you eat certain things, and I tried trying to do it on my own, and it was just they were either too strict or I just didn't hold myself accountable. They didn't have the full package. And I had saw you on LinkedIn actually. I think through Edwards, through my work connections, and so I joined your Facebook page and I watched your videos for a while. And what I liked about it is you actually teach about wellness and health, and why carbohydrates and how women's bodies are different, and what impacts the weight, the scale, how important water is. Just so many aspects of nutrition, which I liked because I was learning a lot. And your program offers not only the health and the education, but also the workouts and the whole kind of comprehensive package, which others didn't. And then it was also having someone there, right? The accountability, which I needed. I needed a partner. I didn't have someone I worked out with. And having that encouragement, that guidance when you have tough days, really helps, and it keeps you accountable, and kept me going. So that's why I chose it.
Was there anything in particular about my program that really helped you?
Oh, there was a lot. I love the exercises, having to choose those. One thing, even when I went to the gym years ago, I honestly didn't know what I was doing, proper form or anything. So having the videos that I can go back and look at, and I kind of just have a plan that I can do when I have time, because life gets busy and I can do it from home. I love that option. I'm not a gym person. So having that guidance in just the knowing what to do was huge. That took the whole stress out of me trying to figure it out and know if I was doing it right.
So as a result of implementing the program, what was the outcome?
There's a lot of things that came out of that. It's more than just my physical. Like you said, I've lost almost 30 pounds, but I'm also stronger, a lot stronger. I remember when I first started working out, I hurt all over, and that's kind of why I started too, right? I would sit at work and I just had aches and pains everywhere. And as you know, our first meeting, I cried and cried. I was a kind of an emotional wreck. I was depressed, so mentally and physically, I wasn't myself, and it made it hard for me to give to my family and 100% to work because I just wasn't feeling energetic. So what I got out of this program was a lot. I got, life back. One thing that you taught me, sorry,
Okay.
was it's okay to do for myself. And I've always been one that puts myself aside and does for others. And it's still a challenge to this day to not continue to do that, because that's just how I've always been. But learning how important it is to do for myself and have that time. And when I make myself a priority and I take care of myself, that I can show up for others better, was huge.
So how has your life changed since achieving this outcome?
I feel I'm just happier, even though I'm just an emotional person anyway, so excuse my tears, but I'm happier. I told my husband, I said, I looked in the mirror and I liked what I saw for the first time in a long time. And I went on a cruise and I went shopping. I'm just happier. I'm happier with myself, and that reflects in how I treat others, how I am around others, and just having more energy. And so and I wanted to go shopping. I used to say no, I don't want to go. I wouldn't buy clothes. I wouldn't do any of that before for myself, because I wasn't happy with where I was at. So I like who I am now.
Where do you think you'd be right now if you didn't take action?
Probably in the same place or worse. Yeah. It was at a point where I had to do something. Um, and it was more for the whole mental side of it than anything.
If there's anybody watching right now, this interview, and that is a fence on booking a call with me to speak about, joining the program, what would you say to them?
So do it. It's 100% worth it. It's the best thing I did, and I wish I would have done it earlier. So I, those things like that I maybe wouldn't do, outfits I wouldn't buy, or family pictures I didn't want to get done because I didn't want to see myself in them. Just those things that you lose out on because you're just not 100% yourself. And, you should give that to yourself.
Welcome, Christina. Thank you for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, I am 52 years old, and I've always been slim. However, after menopause, because I was actually thrown into menopause because of a hysterectomy, all that went out the window. And I work with at-risk youth currently, helping them to make better choices, all by sharing my own personal backstory. And I am a Mary Kay consultant, but unfortunately, I was at an all-time low because I had gained so much weight. I thought that I would always be skinny, but I was just gaining like so much weight. I was stress eating. I was in a very low point in my life. After menopause, oh my gosh, it was like my whole body just like turned on me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very common. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about what exactly you were struggling with. Where did you gain the weight? How did it make you feel? What were your struggles?
My struggle was mainly like in my stomach. Everything else still looked slim, except for like my upper arms and my stomach. That was literally it in the backpack. But as you see in the picture that I had shown, I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the tape measure that said 42 inches, that my stomach was 42 inches. And I would stress eat. I would be at work and I would have like a whole bag of chips and I would literally eat the whole bag, not even realizing it, just eating, typing, answering phone and just eating. And then it got to a point where I was noticing like, whoa, that bag was supposed to last me like all week and I ate it in like 2 hours.
Yeah. So do you feel like this weight gain and the way you felt about it was making you use food as comfort?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going through a rough period, not only with the menopause and the mood swings and the lack of motivation that menopause gives you. It was allowing my home life to suffer. It was allowing just my mental state to suffer, mood swings, all that. So, I just comforted myself through.
And then you decided to start working with me. And what kind of results did you get?
My goodness. I don't think I would have even believed myself because I was, first of all, watching the scale all the time. And then I took your advice by not looking at it every day and just doing it weekly. But oh, I'm gonna cry because just making the decision, first of all, you got to get rid of some foods that are in your house, but really, you know, putting my all into it. Yeah, there were days where I stumbled, but really making a conscious decision. I just made that decision. I'm like, enough is enough. I stuck to it, regarding the carbs and, all those macros, I think they're called. And I just said, all right, I'm just going to do this. And within what, 3 months, I can feel it and just everything is better. My mindset, um, the way, during this transition, I actually also transitioned from where I was only kind of volunteering and working with at-risk youth, but now I'm actually, that's my job now, is working with at-risk youth. And I would not be able to do what I'm doing with them at this intensity if I was in that mindset. There'd be no way.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And how did it affect the people around you too, your loved ones?
He couldn't believe it. First of all, my husband couldn't believe it. When I showed him the picture of the first before and after, he actually looked, he was like, man, I didn't even realize you were that big. And I'm like, yeah, because I was hiding it between, having to get bigger pants and bigger t-shirts and, making sure you don't wear clothes that will show your growth pretty much.
And now you were on purpose close that. Show the good.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
a lot of times I had to wear those things to suck in your gut, but that was even making me so unhappy because first of all, I couldn't breathe. Second of all, it's so constricting. And now I get people asking me, are you wearing one of those, those waist trainers? I'm like, no, so that felt good.
Amazing. So where would you be today if you didn't decide to take that step?
Miserable. I was in a very miserable place in my mind and in my self-esteem because first of all, nothing fit, and I didn't want to buy any more clothes because I'd already had to go up like 2 pant sizes, and I just know that I would probably be stuck somewhere, depressed and even more insecure. I know that probably my marriage would be just fumbling. I wouldn't be able to work with the kids like I do today. Yeah, I'd be stuck.
If there are women watching this interview right now and they feel inspired that they're on the verge of taking that step, they're struggling with the same symptoms you are, it's debilitating their life and their confidence and all aspects of their life, what's your advice to them?
Take the step. Just take the step. Take the first step.